Hello, my name is Kristen Harkness. So in class, we um we talked about using rhetoric, how you can persuade people, and literary, which coincides with rhetoric. So we looked at two videos, two men, two different men, and the first man he was more aggressive than the second man. The first man he broke it down, like he did it. He said it without breaths, and then he took that one breath and he said, "Well, that's why." And he gave you the points and he said, and that's why, and he just made his final conclusion on everything. So that's how he was persuading you in a different way, but it was more aggressive than the second man. And I feel like if the first man had been given the question that the second man was given, which is what was, as a Christian man, what was his I'm sorry, how did he feel about homosexuality? And if the first man had been given that, and maybe if even if he was a Christian man, if he felt, even if he, like, as a Christian man he didn't disagree, I feel like the way he would break it off, it would be, I think it would be more offensive though. Only because the way he breaks it down, I feel like he would offend somebody. I'm not like he would offend a homosexual, maybe not, but the difference between those two people, I feel like he would probably offend somebody. Or like the second man who persuaded you, and he was just like, it's not his decision. As a believer of God, it's up to God. That's all he believes. All he can do is abide by God's rules and how he's supposed to live by life, which is to, show everybody love and, you know, don't judge anyone. Even if they believe this is like you love people unconditionally, even though they feel this way about certain things. You will have a point of view at the end of the day. And he broke it down using, like, he was very specific, and he used different he broke it down so that he used knowledge, right? He used more knowledge. He used Christian. Oh, I'm sorry. He used God. He was just like, it's not his decision. Basically, the whole time he broke it down in ways that he could just say it's not his decision, it's God's decision. But he did it in a way that wouldn't offend anybody at all. And then we read the poem "The New Negro," and which is talking about how, I'm sorry. It's talking about how the Negro, the old Negro, are the Negroes who have been held under white supremacists, who they were in slavery, so they had to do this. They had to think like the white man. They had to do this like the white man because the white man taught them to do this, and they were enslaved, so they had to do it, or you like they had to depend on the white man, or there would be consequences. While the new Negro, I'm like, from what I've read so far, the new Negro doesn't have to really depend on the white man. While it doesn't really say that, but I'm making a hypothesis that maybe since they're so different, since the old Negro had to depend on this, they describing the old Negro at the end, and it was like the old Negro he has to depend on the white man, and the old Negro can't fit in with the new Negro, so maybe the new Negro doesn't have to depend on the white man. So I feel like, and then at the end of the paragraph they use where it's like in his place. Like for the old Negro, he was kept in his place by the white man. He was helped up by the white man. He was kept down by the white man. And they use like the formula. He was more of a formula than a human being, which means he was a formula. He was something used to make something. The old Negro was used to make products. The old Negro was used, he wasn't thought of as a human being. He was thought of maybe as a machine, a human machine. But he wasn't thought of as a human. He was thought of as something that can produce these products. He was a formula than a human being, basically. So, and the new Negro, they can think for themselves now. The new Negro can make these decisions now, and the new Negro can make these decisions. Like, I've only read what we were assigned to read, and I feel like the new Negro can make these decisions now, and that's why the old Negro would look at them some type of way, because now that they can make these decisions, they don't. I mean, the old Negro never existed though. It did state how the old Negro was never the old Negro is the new Negro, basically. But the old Negro never, it was a myth because the old Negro was held under these under watch by the white man, while the new Negro isn't. But there's no old Negro, so it's like it confuses me in a way because I mean I feel like I'm gonna read deeper into it. Like in this video, I know we're only supposed to do what we're only talking about we were assigned to read, but I think we're probably gonna be assigned to read more, but I'm going to read deeper into it. That way I can develop a better understanding of it. Because right now, I don't think I have a good understanding. I've searched the words. I understand what the words mean, of course. I understand this. I've searched the definition of the words, but it kind of confused. I can understand the first part. The first paragraph is it's easy to understand. The first paragraph is basically letting us know that they're free. The new Negro is free. I feel like that's what it was saying. It says the new spirit is awake in the masses, which meaning the new Negro is free, right? I feel like that's what it was doing. It was letting you know that the new Negro is free and the old Negro wasn't free. They was held under a white man and they had to listen to what this white man said and they had to depend on what this white. But it doesn't necessarily say white man though. It doesn't say that. But when you're looking, like when you read the passage, you can automatically, it's Negro. When you hear Negro and you say they weren't considered human beings and they had to depend on people and they were slaves. They basically were saying they were slaves. So you can automatically assume that they were slaves of the white man. Because when you say new Negro and old Negro, that's Negroes, period. It's Negroes, like all Negroes. It's not just this certain group. Because he didn't say this certain group of Negroes. He didn't say the South Negroes, the North Negroes. He said Negroes. So I feel like he's talking about Negroes, period. All Negroes. Because he did say generation. And we were vibrant with the new psychology. So when we have a new psychology, because we're allowed to have a new psychology. They weren't allowed to do this. They weren't allowed to do that. The things that us as the new Negroes could do. And I'm going to say us because I am considered the new Negro. Because the old Negro were within slavery. And me being a new Negro out of slavery and being able to have my own psychology, I guess we can use that. I can call myself the new Negro. And me looking back at the old Negroes, I feel like they were held as slaves and they were held as a formula to get all of this stuff done and get all of these crops so these people can get money and earn money. While me as a new Negro, I don't. I'm just like, I can make my own money. I don't have to depend on anybody to do that. Me as a new Negro, you don't have to really depend on anybody. I feel like that's the difference. They depend, they were slaves, we don't, and we're not slaves. I feel like that's what I got from it. That's just my perspective on the whole thing. I don't know if that's just my perspective, but thank you anyways. I think